Hello there. You are onto the Man-to-Man Session podcast. We raise kings to embrace their masculinity and amplify their influence in the society. Welcome. The Man-to-Man Session podcast is about to begin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode on M2M session. So today we are speaking with my friend, my brother, no other person than Mr. Ehnkay Umoh. I'm sure you guys must have already listened to his story on M2M session. He has really been a lot of inspiration to me and to a lot of young guys out there. And of course, he's also one of our latest youngest married man and also youngest father. So welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Ehnkay Umoh. My friends call me Ehnkay Umoh. So I'm glad to be on the M2M session for this episode. Thank you. Okay, I'm so happy that this is a very personal question. So this is how my own story goes. I and my wife were friends for over 3 years, and we were colleagues as well in the same organization. So that was before we became lovers, that's before we started dating and eventually got married. So yes, I met my wife in my place of work. So I believe that the most interesting part you're being itchy to hear is how I knew that she was the one. I was actually in a very toxic relationship before I met my wife. So I and my wife were friends while I was in that relationship. I was really struggling to break free from it. It was the kind of relationship where I was so scared to be myself. I had even lost myself. I had compromised with the path I was supposed to follow in terms of destiny. So when I met my wife, when I compared what I had actually gone through in my previous relationship, and I saw that I could actually pursue my goals. My previous relationship was quite a toxic one. It was the kind of relationship where I had lost myself, I had compromised with the path I was meant to follow in terms of destiny, and also I had even forgotten what it felt like to truly be myself. But so when I eventually got into a relationship with my wife today, I realized that I could check the box for my peace of mind. I could pursue my goals without even envisioning that maybe someday I'll be distracted in future. So I believe that at that point, before I made the decision, I decided that yes, I could actually make this a lifetime journey, and that's how I knew that she was the one, because I could have my peace of mind, I could pursue my goals even alongside hers as well. So that's it. As a man, you need to set a clear vision for your family. You can't just set out with a lady without knowing where you're going, without having clearly defined goals, what you want to achieve. Because let's say this is your life partner, so you have to set clear goals for yourself, and that should be inclusive of your children as well. So you need to understand emotional intelligence as well. You need to set the tone for mutual respect. I understand that the African culture has a lot of mix and leads, but you need to reinvent and train yourself to understand that there's a lot of female emancipation going on today. So you need to set an example for your children as well. You lead by example. So that's all for that. I believe that emotional intelligence comes in first in that kind of situation, because you need to understand empathy, because everything is not just all about you. This is about the other party as well. In the case of conflict resolution, you need to understand that there are 3 ways you can approach it. You can either be aggressive, you can choose to be assertive, or you can choose to be passive. So I believe that the best way to approach things like that is to be assertive. Make your points and also respect the other person's opinion, and also find a common ground whereby the 2 parties can actually find a compromise so that any kind of conflict can be resolved.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. First of all, you need to know yourself. I believe that because of the way society has really crafted the whole atmosphere for guys, whereby they need to really find a way to fend for themselves, they actually inserted in themselves the wrong mind files. So maybe a lot of them came up to believe that maybe ladies are sexual objects of pleasure. But you need to understand and know yourself. For me, I actually discovered a lot of my weaknesses before I got married, so I knew how to fight them either by setting boundaries. Because number one, this is a lady you want to spend the rest of your life with, so you need to understand that her feelings also matter. So you need to set boundaries for yourself and for even friends of the opposite sex. I believe that life is all about setting balance for all aspects of your life, inclusive. So I believe that there are some days, if you're a guy, there are some days you need to be a better husband. There are some days you need to be much of a co-worker. There are some days you need to be much of a father. So you need to know how to set this balance. And also the idea of setting boundaries too comes in. You need to believe that you need to respect the fact that you're spending a good time with your family, and when you are enjoying that moment, at least respect that moment enough to either put your phone on don't disturb, or maybe you could actually delegate duties to other assistants or co-workers who could help you. Then as regards your destiny as well, you could also have a plan, do a schedule, because the kind of success you intend to achieve also depends on how well you plan towards this. So believe that all these areas of your life are very, very important, because at the end of the day, you're climbing the mountain of your growth. You need to carry in your backpack your social life with you, your family life with you, even your work life and your purpose as well. So you don't want to get to a point whereby you would remove some areas of your life and drop because the backpack is getting heavy or because the mountain is getting steep. So you need to sustain the stamina and the wisdom to achieve this by having a good plan for all this. So how we overcome challenges in relationship and marriage, you have to learn. You really need to learn, because marriage is not about, it's not a bed of roses. You need to learn, because there are a lot of things we had seen our parents go through. You might want to say that we want to overcome that by avoiding some things, but you might be making the same mistake in another way. So you need to go out of your way to learn the right way to do things. You need to learn from persons that have gone ahead of you. You shouldn't be too proud to learn from your parents if they are still alive. You shouldn't be too proud to go and sit down and learn under the feet of a mentor as well. Even your spiritual leaders, if you have them in your life, which you're supposed to, you should learn from them, and also seek out materials you could also soak or sponge out a lot of wisdom from, because you really, really need wisdom for this journey of life, because it's not really easy. Because number one, when you were born, you looked like your parents, but at the end of the day, when you're about to die, you only look like your decisions. So make the decision right now to inculcate the habits of learning and learning and learning, either consciously through wisdom or from the experiences of others. Thank you. That's really tricky, because so many of us try to avoid or evade the aspects. Maybe some of us are happy that maybe our in-laws are no more, but what if that isn't the case? You need to also set boundaries as well. You need to set boundaries, but you also have to believe that you need to respect your wife, because your wife is the next person no matter what. And also believe that and respect the fact that your wife came from somewhere, and you should also give her room to also express that respect for our parents. And likewise, also sit down and talk to your spouse concerning this, how you could avoid a lot of things, because a lot of us run into marriage without sitting down to talk about all these sensitive topics. Is it about finances? a topic as it's something like finances could actually lead to problems, even with your in-laws. When some cases come up where you need to provide for your in-laws, maybe this one you need to say that, okay, let's avoid this, we shouldn't do this. You should sit down, face the brutal fact that these are very, very sensitive topics, and sit down and trash it out. If you cannot do it on your own as two parties, you could also seek wisdom from others as well. I don't mean you seeking wisdom, I don't mean you maybe reporting your case or your problems to unnecessary third parties. You should also have wisdom in the way you do that as well. One of my basic beliefs is this: at the end of the day, my children will leave me alone. That's just the truth. But when they get to 18 or maybe 16, they may want to be on their own. Yes, that's just the truth. They may want to be on their own. So it still boils down to the fact that my wife will still be with me even is it my dying day or something. So I need to really strengthen my intimacy with her. A lot of persons that are into marriage, they believe that maybe it's basically the children that keep them together. So they leave out the fact that they need to continue fanning the flame of their relationship, building intimacy, maybe creating time for vacation. All these things are very, very important. And also for your children as well, they are a very, very important aspects of your lives, because they are a product of that marriage, and you need to really, really lead by example as a man. Show them the way to go. Let me even coin a part from the Bible. If Joseph was a very, very responsible man, I don't believe Jesus Christ would have fulfilled his destiny, because the quality of decisions he made, is it by following the will of God for the entire family, by moving to a different city when he was supposed to, it would in turn affect your children. So you can actually make it easier for your children if you train them in the way they are supposed to go. You can do this by either being so close to God to ask them, how am I to train this particular person? How am I to do this with this person? And that will actually soften the ground for them when they grow into adulthood. The truth remains that every individual, whether it's a person perpetrating evil or a delinquent, every such individual came or hails from a country, and you can still trace him down to a particular area or region of that same country. You can still trace him down to a state. You can still trace him down to a particular location in terms of local government area. That's if you're talking of a place like Nigeria. You can still trace him down to a village. You can still trace him down to a particular caste. Then from there you can trace him down to a family. So what this tells us is that everything originated from or originates from the family. So I believe that it's also true that a lot of persons didn't have the privilege to enjoy the bliss of a good home or a family. But for you and I, we intend to provide a kind of safe haven for our children. We need to first start by understanding or developing good values ourselves, because you cannot give what you do not have. So as an individual, you need to have good values. So this boils down to how you're going to transit these values to your children. You can transit things like honesty, and transit things like transparency, being transparent, and transit things like being responsible or diligence, things that could actually stand the test of time. Because when you are not around anymore, or when you don't have eyes over your children anymore, it remains that your values or the values that you transfer to them would stand the test of time. They are going to speak, and they can actually vouch for you that you actually raised them well. So a good value system is building a very good value system is very, very important. and that should be what we should transfer to our children as well. We shouldn't just plan to make them inherit properties alone, but as we are raising them, the first thing they should inherit from us are the good values that we transited to them. Thank you.